Hello guys, welcome back. Nigel here again with another little video update for you. Today I'm going to talk about the HB B-24 1/32 scale Liberator. I did a full review, inbox review on the kit a few weeks back. If you have a look, I think it was just after Christmas or just before. In my opinion, it's a beautiful model. It does have some issues. Some will class as rivet counting. There's other issues that will make the kit difficult to, not difficult to build, but difficult to make it look good. You know, if you take all the accuracy issues and all the rivet count and everything else away, you know, the turrets in particular make life a little difficult. So I just want to go through and do a quick video on what I feel is wrong with the kit and my interpretation of what's actually wrong with it. I've seen a few reviews and quite a few people have picked up on a few things. Other things have been missed out. So anyway, let's start by quickly going through the instructions, and I'll just basically point out what I know is sort of wrong and right. The wheels are very, very simple, and they've obviously got vinyl tyres. Aftermarket wheels are going to be a requirement for this kit. I'm sure there's already one set come out which has got the hubcaps on, which I don't like. I like to see the spokes. You can use a P38 wheel, but it's got a brake. The nose wheel on the B24 didn't have a brake, so you can use that wheel, but you need to remove the brake from it. My suggestion is just wait. Somebody's going to come up with, you know, true details for one at least. Probably Ed will come up with a set of lovely wheels for it. Oh, for the main gear you can use the B17 Ed wheels. They're the same apparently. With the cockpit, this bulkhead here that goes on the back really should be chopped out. There's no real photos that show much of a bulkhead here. However, having said that, the photos I've seen, the cockpit in this plane, there are so many different layouts. It's really difficult to say what is right and what is wrong. So, you know, get your head around that one. The seats apparently are too far back. That's no big issue. And it seems that most, I mean, the Lancaster, the B17, I'm not sure about the B25, they all seem to have the seats too far back. Maybe the pilots used to slide them back to get out, and then that's the position that the people that have made the original modelers work to. So there you go. So that's that bit covered. Oh, and just to let you know, Airscale have made a cockpit upgrade set for this. It's available now. It's probably going to start posting out within 5 days. As soon as I've got one, I'll be putting a review up on the channel. I think I've got one in the post to me now. So yeah, as soon as there's one here, I'll do a review, and I'll do a how-to as well. It's one thing that in the kit, the actual instrument panel is very, very featureless and quite flat. So I think if anything, you know, the cockpit could do with a bit of livening up with an instrument panel, and there's also a few other panels on that he's put in as well. But we'll see that as soon as the set comes. And then moving on, we've got the bomb bay and everything. As far as I'm aware, there's not too much issue with the bomb bay. We do get a nice full complement of bombs, which is good. Some manufacturers decide not to give us bombs these days. Right, turrets. I'll show you in a minute with the sprues. Biggest problem with the turrets is, one is frosted clear parts, which shouldn't be frosted. Two is the actual seam. You can see here the turret actually is joined together. So you end up with this mould seam in the middle, well, the seam in the middle that needs to be glued. It's right across the middle. There's not much you can do about it. Everybody's talking about online. Hopefully there's going to be some aftermarket solution. Although apparently if you write to Hobby Boss, apparently they are coming up with a correction for it. Now, I've written to them and I'm waiting for a reply. Whether that correction is just going to be making the parts clear rather than frosted, or it's a new clear assembly to go around the turret, I don't know. But on top of that, you've also got the issue, because of the restrictions with injection moulding, obviously the thickness of the plastic to make the turret from is not scale, so the inside has to fall within that smaller interior area, if you like, because of the thickness of the walls. So apparently the guns are too close together, and when you actually look at it, there's no way a man could ever get in there. So really the turrets are completely out of scale. The guns are too close together. So that's something, you know, is it rivet counting, is it not? Does it need correcting, does it not? But the one thing about the turret is, well, about the turrets, is this nasty seam in the middle. Ball turret appears fine, it pops up in and out, which is all good. And then we've got the assembly of the fuselage going together, that's all good. And then we've got the top turret, that's fine because it's got the cap which goes on, so you've got no nasty seam and no frosted parts in that one. And then we come on to the wings and the bomb bay, sorry, and the undercarriage bays. They've got some lovely detail in there, nothing much needed in there, I don't think. There's been talk about the shape of the cells on the engine. Not sure if they're correct or not. They kind of look right to me. We'll go over that in a minute. Actual wing profile itself is out. Again, I'll discuss that with you guys in a second. Engine detail is a bit shortcoming. There's been a lot of talk about prop diameter. The actual prop diameter on the B-24 was 11'7". The actual kit radius, well, the actual kit diameter is 106 millimeters, which I think comes out to about 11'2". So they're a scale 5 inches too small. In 30-second scale, I think that's about 2 millimeters. So I'm not sure if that's going to notice or not. The one thing I look at is the actual profile of the prop blades. I'm not sure if that's correct, but again, we're not going to go rivet counting. As I mentioned earlier, for the main gear wheels, you can use the Brassin B17 wheels for those, but I'm sure Edard will come out with some dedicated wheels anyway. And also we've got to talk about these undercarriage legs. There's an issue with them, and then we've got the rudders and the fins and everything. That's all fine, and there we go. So that's that. Right, let's look at the actual parts. Undercarriage legs, they give you the outer legs as moulded parts, but then there's a separate inner leg, and I personally think they were going to make this out of metal and then change their mind. So they've made us these. You've got the 3 undercarriage legs, or 3 separate plastic parts, and they're quite flexible. They just feel like a normal plastic. They don't feel any tougher to me than anything normal, but I worry that they're going to snap off. So there's a company called Aerocraft Models. That's Aerocraft Models, A-E-R-O Craft Models, has come out with a set of brass legs, and they're exact copies of these. So you'll still use the plastic outers and wrap them around the brass legs. Brass legs are far better than the soft white metal you'll see from people like SAC. It's a lot more rigid and it doesn't flex. The soft white metal legs from said manufacturer, I've always found, have been very, very weak on detail. They're basically just a copy of the plastic kit parts, and they're also quite soft. We've all had it where you get them delivered and they're bent and you just straighten them out. Well, you put a big heavy model on them, over time I think they're just going to bend under their own weight. So yeah, get your brass update legs from Aerocraft Models. I'm hoping to get a set in the post very soon. I've already mentioned Airscaler doing the cockpit for it, so that's the aftermarket taken care of. Oh, I've also got some masks on the way. DN Models have come up with some masks for this, so you don't have to use the kit decals, which is cool. And he's doing all sorts of different masks for different aircraft. They're in the post. As soon as they arrive, I'll give you a full review. Now, these turrets, as I mentioned, the problem with them is, this is the front turret here on the left, and the problem here is you can see it's frosted and it all needs polishing. So that's one issue. You can see here the rear turret is crystal clear. It's beautiful, really, really nice. But you've got this mould seam across the middle and the mould seam across the middle on the front here. And not only have you got the mould seam, you've also got these pins and lugs. So you've basically got to polish them out as well, because when you look inside, you can see here behind my finger, or in front of my finger, you can see you've got that lug there, and that's what everyone's complaining about. And also when you look at the front of the turret, you can see the guns are too close together, but that's not what this video is about. The back, the rear turret, you can see is crystal clear, but again we've got these lugs with the locating pins, and you've also got this seam in the middle. As I say, I've only found out today is the 26th of February 2019, I've only found out today that apparently Hobby Boss have come up with a correction. I'm holding my breath. I think the correction is just going to be the fact that they've got this polished, but I'm hoping they will have made a fresh turret like everyone else does, with a top part that goes down, or like a rear and top shell, and then a front that goes on, so the join lines are kept around the actual frame. So let's wait and see. We can hope and pray. Just hope they come up with something better than this. Engines. People have talked about the engines. Now, when I look at this sprue here, this has got the obviously got the engines, the cowlings, and the props on it. The engines are very, very simple. Okay, they are very simple. They could be a lot sharper, and they could be upgraded. Hobby Boss do give you ignition wires in the kit, which will also dress it up a bit. Now, I don't know how far you want to go with this, but when you actually, if you paint the back of this matte black, and the engine's painted an aluminium colour, and it's got some washes and some weathering on it, and with those ignition wires over the front, once it's put in behind here, I don't know, it's something that everybody's going to look at. How far do you want to go? Because replacing these engines is going to cost you a lot of money, you know, maybe almost as much as the kit. So, you know, we need to think about how far we want to go with this. Yes, the engine detail is simple, but yes, this kit retails in this country, in the UK, retails about £150. It can be got for like 120. When you compare this to the HK Models Lancaster at 400, okay, you can get it for 360. I think you know where I'm coming from. You could dress this kit up with every single piece of aftermarket in the world and still spend less, or every piece of aftermarket that's going to become available, and still spend less than you did on the Lancaster. And I personally believe this kit is better than the Lancaster. I'm probably going to get hated for saying that, but that's actually what I personally believe. Look at my builds on the Lancaster and you'll see what I'm talking about. The props, as I say, they're actually a scale 5 inches too small. So, I don't know. To me, they look a bit fat here. I'm not sure, but they just look out of shape. I could be wrong, but they just don't look right to me. I'm sure somebody will come up with a correction. They'll probably have some prop blades that are longer. I'm not really too worried about the length. What concerns me is how they look. They just look too fat. I don't know, I could be wrong. There's also been talk that this is out of shape. It should be flatter on the sides. I don't know, I haven't looked into it. All I know is B-24 engine nacelles are oval, and they look pretty oval to me. So yeah, these turbochargers, they look a little simple as well, but you know, the kit is what it is, and for the money it costs, I think it's great. The biggest issue, which you could say is getting into the rules of rivet counting, and is something that everybody's talking about. It's the one thing that Hobby Boss have really missed out on, is there's all sorts of fancy names which I don't remember, but they've completely messed up the shape of the wing. Now, one of the big features of the Liberator is the shape of the wing and the way it interacts with the fuselage, the way it's mounted. And I'll put up a photograph now, and here you can see the actual shape of the wing in these couple of photos that I've borrowed offline. You can see the way the wing actually meets the fuselage, and you can see that the wing actually comes up like this and down at the back. It's almost like they've got an equal chord, top and bottom, on this wing, like a model airplane would have, whereas in reality it should have a much flatter bottom and a much more shapely top. So that's layman's terms. There's all sorts of different terminology for it. But you can see there where the actual line is scribed into the fuselage. You can see the shape of it, and it should be higher up here, and then it should come down across the back here and then meet almost down just above the bomb bay. So it should be flatter on the bottom, lower down at the trailing edge, and then come up across that big huge centre beam, up higher across the top and then down at the front. And if you look on large scale planes, there's a guy on there, Ian, his name is 32 SIG, and what he is doing is he's actually correcting this wing at the moment by shaving loads of material out the inside of it and actually flexing it around an inner member. So go and have a look at that. But that's what all the fuss is about. Now, if you're not fussed about that, okay, and you're not worried about the look of the wing, then really you don't have a lot to worry about. The rest of it is, you know, the turret is a pain in the ass. Somebody's going to come up with something. You could make something yourself, or just glue it together and just hope for the best. At the end of the day, there are lots of pictures of these online where they've parked up with canvas thrown over the turrets, so you could always do that just to cover it up. But I just wanted to put this video together just to try and clarify a few things, because there has been a lot of talk about the issues with this kit, and I just wanted to clarify and make sure that I've put my slant on what I think is wrong with it and how I think it should be corrected. But my advice to everyone, I have no links with Hobby Boss whatsoever. I wasn't given this kit to review. I bought this with my own money from Antics, and you know, I have no links to them whatsoever. Go and buy yourself one. It is a lovely model, and if you've got the room to store it when it's done, then it will be even if you build it out of the box, it will be absolutely beautiful. The biggest problem you're going to have is this turret, and the trouble is it's been so well advertised. Wherever you put this model on show, you know, if you've got your friends coming around and they don't know about it, they're going to look at it and say, wow, what a beautiful model that is. That's a great big bomber. It's gorgeous. But if you put this up in a show, every single person that looks at the model is going to go straight to the turret and straight to the engines, and they're going to see if you corrected the wing. So just be prepared for that, that's all. But at the end of the day, it's a B-24, it's in 32nd scale, it's injection moulded. I think it's great. I'll see you later.